Hello and welcome to Tapping Tips Tuesday. My name is Katie Walker. I'm an EFT trainer, mentor and practitioner. And I run these little tapping tips each week just so you can see how we can apply tapping, EFT tapping in our daily life. And my intent is just to be able to give you some tools without having to go into a huge amount of detail, because we have this beautiful modality that we use as practitioners for our clients when certain patterns, beliefs, behaviors, traumas have happened, and we hold that space to allow for our client to work through that. So there's that capacity in which we use EFT, but what we want to be able to do when we are working with our clients is to be able to allow them to take this tool away to be able to apply it in their day-to-day life. And so without working one-on-one with me, I want to be able to show you how through different techniques within the range of EFT you can use yourself and how easily it can be administered. So the last two tapping tips that I've done, I have worked with two techniques. One is the collarbone breathing, which I did last week, and the one prior to that was called orienting tapping. Now, I wanted to talk you through something that kind of rocked my world a little bit this morning, where if this happens to you, you could use either of those particular techniques, which I could have done, or we'll use what we've done previously, where we go, okay, what is the emotion that's showing up based on the thing that happened? We rate it 0 to 10. So we know if the tapping's working, if we're focused in on the thing that we need to be focusing in on. And we go, am I also feeling that in my body? So before we get started, I just want you to feel your feet on the floor if you are sitting, or even standing, because when you're standing, you're going to feel your feet on the floor as well. If you're driving, perhaps just pull over and stop and give yourself that space and just feel your feet on the floor, and just take a moment to actually allow yourself to be here in this moment, and then allow your awareness to just travel up. If you are sitting on a seat, just feel the seat holding you, you're holding your body, and just bring your awareness to that, being held by the chair, and just take a moment. And then what I do want you to do is take full responsibility for yourself. So just notice if the emotions that are coming up, if you are taking this time to work with me right now and do what I do, the tapping that I do, but just taking full responsibility. And if you do find emotions are feeling intense, or there's an intensity in your body, go back to collarbone breathing or the orienting tapping that I have shown in previous sessions, or just keep tapping. So tapping on the points, tapping on the top of the head, start of the eyebrow, side of the eye, under the nose, under the lip, your collarbone, and then under the arm. And just keep tapping and just keeping that awareness on your feet, being grounded, bottom in the chair, body in the chair, and just keep tapping and just notice your breath. Don't take deep breaths, but just allow for the breath to come in and out. Just keep tapping if you're finding that there's the intensity there. But ideally, I'm going to just keep you in a safe space where you're just going to focus on one thing. So for me, I'm going to give you an example of what happened this morning. I'm just going to close my door because my little pooch just opened it and now she's having fun outside. But I'm going to give you an example of what happened this morning. So use my words that I'm using, and then, but before you do that, before I talk through what happened, I want you just to take a moment and write down if something has happened in the last 24 hours, last week, last few weeks, where when you think about that thing still in the here and now, you notice an emotion come up, or you notice an intensity in your body, and write that down. Write down what the situation is, who was involved, what was said, what was done. Thinking about it now, what is the emotion that you feel? Because you can't change the emotion that you felt in that situation, but we're working on what's showing up for you right now. Rate it 0 to 10. Notice if it's showing up anywhere in your body, in your stomach, solar plexus, chest, throat, head. Just take some awareness around what's going on somatically. And then once you've written it down, pop it to the side, turn it over, and then use the words that I'm using, okay? Because your unconscious is going to go about its business and work on what you've written down. Trust that process. So for me, what happened? I woke up and I was feeling great. 6 o'clock this morning, jumped onto emails and read an email from a colleague who lives in the States, and there's some very interesting decisions being made there at the moment, and I don't want to make this political, so I'm not going to, but the email was really something that a change has happened where she lives, and it's having a huge impact on her life. And I felt this absolute wave of sadness, and I could just feel myself getting really emotional for her. And what I wanted to be able to do was be able to hold that space for her, respond by giving her the best from me, but also then knowing I've got a full day to get through today to be able to show up for my other clients, to be able to show up for my daughter, to be able to show up for me. And had I not tapped in the moment this morning, things could be very different. I could just be sitting and starting to ruminate and getting more and more intense, and just my whole day could be blown out. The part of my brain that I need online to be making decisions and showing up and doing one and being would be all impacted. And so through the tapping I did this morning, I was able to calm down, still have the love in my heart and the compassion for my colleague from the email I read, but not to have that intensity of, oh my gosh, I could feel myself just getting totally swept up in it. So here's how it would look. Thinking about the email, so the event being that email that I saw and the words that I read. And I'm not going to go into detail just to keep confidentiality, but I know what I read. And thinking about that now, I actually still do, interestingly, I actually don't feel the sadness, but I feel anger. I actually feel anger, just because of the unfairness of what's happening. And so I'm noticing that anger, and I feel it in my chest. And if I hold that anger, I could get swept up in that, and it just becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, and me not being able to do what I need to do today. So anger, 0 to 10, I'm going to rate it 6. Thinking about the email, so the emotion, anger, the event, reading the email, I'm noticing, so you see I'm kind of pointing in my chest, I'm feeling it in my chest. And so I've got all the bits that I need to be able to set my statement up as we do. So we start at the side of the hand between our pinky and our wrist, that fleshy part, and that's where we're starting, and that's where we're stating what's going on. So just repeating after me, even though I feel this anger in my chest, just thinking about the email that I read and those words that were in that email, because that's what I'm clocking, the words. The words. I can still deeply and completely accept myself. So just, even though there's this stuff going on, I can still accept me. Okay. We just repeated another 2 times, even though I feel this anger in my chest. Just thinking about that email that I read this morning and the words that were in that email. Makes me feel angry, but I can still deeply and completely accept myself. And even though I feel this anger in my chest, just thinking about that email and those words in that email makes me feel really angry. Really angry. I still deeply and completely accept myself. And then we go to the top of the head, and we're just repeating the emotion, this anger. Start of the eyebrow, this anger. Side of the eye, this anger. Under the eye, this anger. So the bony bit underneath the eye. Under the nose, this anger. Under the lip, this anger. Collarbone, this anger. 2 hands, or you can use 1 hand. This anger. And under the arm, this anger. Okay. And then we just come back to the side of the hand. We check in. I think about this morning, the email, reading the words. Anger. Was it, did I say 6? 5 or 6? It's probably sitting at a 3. So I'm going to do one more round, because, you know, I want, again, to acknowledge, yes, this email I received, yes, that thing is not fair, but for it not to affect me emotionally, because, again, I want to be able to respond to her with authenticity and to take any emotion out that might kind of feed into what's going on for her. But how I then show up for the rest of my day, being able to do what I need to do, so that part of my brain is online, because when we are in that dysregulated state, when the amygdala, the part of the body that's acting, we're fighting, we're fleeing, we're going into shutdown, the prefrontal cortex goes and with that amygdala. So we can't think, we can't do what we need to do, that it's offline. So I can't have that in my day. I need to be able to continue working. And so by doing what I'm doing right now, and hopefully you're doing this with me, we can just calm the amygdala. We can say, yeah, that still sucks. Truth is, that still sucks. Can't change that, but I can work with what's showing up for me. So one more round, even though I still feel this anger, and I feel it in my chest. It's actually my chest and my throat. So always just do a check-in. It's chest to throat. Just thinking about the words in that email from this morning, I can still deeply and completely accept myself. Even so, though I still feel this anger in my chest and my throat, thinking about the email, what was in it. It is unfair. I still deeply and completely accept myself. And even though I still feel this anger in my chest and my throat, just thinking about the email and the words in that email, the unfairness, I can still deeply and completely accept myself. Top of the head, this remaining anger. This anger in my chest and my throat. This anger. This anger. Still feeling some anger in my chest and my throat. This anger. This anger. This anger. Okay. Ooh, that did help me release that. And if I just close my eyes for a moment and I think about the email, the words, and there are a couple of particular words which I'm not going to say out loud just to keep her confidentiality, keep that confidential. But if I focus on those words, I can wholeheartedly say to you, the sadness that I felt this morning, I already tapped on that, but the anger has gone from, I think it was a 5 or a 6, and it's probably still sitting at about a 1. So I could still go back and do another round, but I won't for now because of mindful of time. But I'm noticing, okay, I don't feel that anger as I felt it, and it feels good to me to be able to go, okay, I can now just park that and continue on with my day. I can respond to her how I want to respond to her, and I can then do what I need to do throughout the day. So I hope that has been useful. If you find that you have a story that keeps on showing up for you and you just can't do something with it, a feeling that keeps on showing up for you, you may need to have some support from someone. Reach out to me. Website is www.katiewalkereft.com, or email is hello@katiewalkereft.com. But please just revisit the tapping tips that I've done previously, the collarbone breathing, the orienting. This one, you write down what it is that has happened to you in the last 24, 48, last week, last month, something that has caused you to still feel some emotional intensity. Use this as a guide to work on your stuff. Otherwise, reach out and work with me. I hope this has been helpful. Take care.